and welcome to the Real Biz Life Chronicles. I'm your host, Tracy Fryer. Today, I have the lovely Sonja Pototzki-Raymond joining us from the Search Republic. Sonja, welcome.
Aw, thank you for having me, Trace. Really
Thank
happy
you.
to be here and happy to support you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. The pleasure is all of mine.
Thank you. So, Sonja, I think we'll kick off. Growing up, did you have any entrepreneurial traits, or did you have like a little side hustle like myself growing up, or how did you find yourself in business?
I'll be honest with you, I never really thought I would ever own my own business. I always did say when I grew up and when I have my big hotshot job, I used to talk about that quite a lot. Um, but I didn't really ever have a desire to own my own business or knew that that was my path, if that makes sense. But I do believe that my childhood has shaped me into being the go-getter person I am today because my mum and dad broke up when I was quite young. So mum and dad broke up when I was 7. So I think seeing her struggle, rearing 3 of us on her own, I think
Wow.
that was kind of what ignited the spark in the fire in me to be like, okay, when I grow up, I'm gonna make something of myself, and I'm gonna, work hard and live life by design, not default. So that is where my hunger for progression with my career started. But also, my dad was a very successful businessman, and he's traveled all over the world as a businessman. So there's parts of my characteristics that are also very German-like because my dad is German as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I have both the Irish sense of humor and then the German work ethic. So it's hilarious.
I love that. It's funny you say
Yeah,
that. 'Cause I am part Greek, Italian, German, and Irish as well. So I've got a bit of all the traits, eh?
we're probably related, Tracy.
Probably. I'm a bit of a payment special, but never mind.
No, that's probably why we get on so well. We're so similar in so many ways.
Probably, yes, I agree. And
Mm,
Sonia, how long have you been in Perth for?
10 years. So yeah, so arrived in 2nd of October 2013. So 10 years, just October gone.
Yeah,
So yeah, I very much see it as home, and Ireland will always be my home, but
yeah,
like I just feel very, very grateful to be to be a citizen of Australia and the opportunities, and you'd probably agree with me on this. These opportunities like don't exist in Ireland and probably not in South Africa either. And I think every part of your childhood experience shapes you into wanting more from life, and seeing the opportunities being so limited in Ireland is another reason as to why I'm here in Ireland, here in Australia, because Australia I've always seen as the promised land. But it's also down to how much action you take and you taking the bull by the horns and make it happen, you know?
yes, definitely.
Mm,
These kind of opportunities don't exist in South Africa. So yeah, I immigrated with my family in 2005, and yeah, just so blessed to live in Perth and to I've never had my own business, let alone my own podcast in South Africa. So we're so lucky to live in this beautiful place.
absolutely, we absolutely are. And I think there's part of the culture that you grow up in, especially in Ireland, people aren't really encouraged to make something of themselves apart from going to uni. That's kind of the only avenue, get a job. And that's just part of our culture. And anyone that was dare to dream, we cut down the size. So I'm like, who does she think she is? So I really feel very grateful to live in Australia and to have so many amazing business women, so much of the network that I have around me and the encouragement and the love that I have from so many people is the reason why I do what I do. And it gives me the drive to keep going because people are here to support you and they're not here to compete with you. And I
Yes.
definitely feel that mentality is very much an abundant mindset as opposed to a scarcity mindset in Ireland. That's what I've experienced anyway. I don't know if that's how you feel. There's definitely a elevated level of mindset living here in Australia. And I think you adapt to those people that are around you because you pick up on the energy that they give off, and then you elevate to another level of um influence to ensure that you can become the best person that you become. So this very famous quote by Jim Rohn, you are the sum of the 5 most people you spend time with. And I feel that that is particularly the reason how my business has been successful, because not only do you have to be your own best cheerleader, but how grateful are we to have so many friends that are women in business, all trying to make it in their own right, but also have each other's backs. I love that.
Same. And it's funny you say about, the 5 people that you hang out with, because again, business will reveal everything. I had a bit of a friend cleanse probably about
Mm.
2.5, 3 years ago. Because again, like where you spend your time, and we're so like, there's only 24 hours in a day. And I know you and we go 150 miles an hour. So it's so important that the people that you're hanging out with, spending your time with, actually, it's a bit of give and take on both sides, right? So you're enriching their life and vice versa.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. I have had to since becoming a mom to stage a year and a half ago, like I've definitely had to prioritize where I spend my time. And I think the friends that I do have, I feel like I'll always be friends with them, but I just can't give them as much time as what I used to. And I'm a firm believer that if people can't respect that, well, then you were never meant to be friends long term anyway. They were just meant to be a season,
Yeah.
and if the people around you in your closest circle don't clap the loudest, get a new circle.
Yeah.
That's my biggest motto. Like, if there's people around you trying to take something for you or trying to compete with you or don't understand, or you can feel a sense of jealousy or enviousness, like that doesn't serve anyone,
No.
that pushes me further away. So yeah, I'm all about the friend cleanses and all about, what lights you up, because you only live once, so you
Yeah.
want to be around the people that make it count with you.
Yeah, definitely. Sonia, there was something else that you mentioned, and I've heard this before. I think it was from Aronson Sony, living a life by design. What does that mean to
Mm.
you?
I feel, and look, there's a lot of people that think that money is bad and it's the root of all evil, and it's the mindset that comes with having a lot of money, that, people who are rich are selfish, or people who are rich are um full of themselves, or they're a very
Hello.
different breed. They're a very, very different breed. But that also, I feel that having a lot of money gives you a lot of choices to do the things that you never thought possible. So, like, whether people realize it or not, money's right up there with oxygen.
Mm.
But yet, we're taught to see it as a bad thing. But I
Yes.
genuinely believe wealth, and being rich is a lot down to spiritual growth. And the more you evolve in your spiritual growth, the more money shows up. And the more money shows up, the more choices you have to create a life by design.
Yes. Definitely.
Not
That's
default. And
yeah.
you don't want to be put, you don't want to be like in a, like, as a canoe in a river with the river throwing you around. You want to be the one that's in control, making all the things happen, rather than the universe just serving you up whatever's left, because
Yes.
all the good is gone. You know what I mean? I think we're
Yeah,
also very in control of our choices, for
I do.
sure.
Yeah. It's yeah, interesting that you say that, because there's such a stigma again around money and the idea of it. But again, money, you can do so much good with it. Again, it's got a good side and an evil side, but just the opportunities that it creates, not only for ourselves, but for others, and how we can help society and
Mm,
communities, and
completely.
so on. But yeah, it's very true what you say.
And I think, absolutely, with giving, yeah, it gives you choices, and you can do a lot with money to help the greater good. So one of my big things that are on my vision board, and something that I've been working with for a while, is like, I want to be able to work with kids from disadvantaged areas, be it in India, in Australia, and help them to see that, just because they've been brought into a family where there's not a whole lot of wealth or a whole lot of choices, that they can actually create and make something of themselves, and they can create a life how they want to live it. But in order to do that, that has to come from money and time, and being able to invest in programs like that. So that's something that I'm working towards, to actually help make a ripple effect and leave a legacy behind far after I'm gone. So it's not
Yes.
necessarily just about the money, it's about how you want to make the world a better place,
Yes.
you
Definitely.
know? And there's definitely the evil side of it. I think that is what brings out the worst in people, when they see that, oh, the more money I have, the better I'm going to be, and they possess that it's money. But that can bring out a really nasty side of people. But I think that also comes to, the more that you can handle what you've got, and the more you realize who you are, more money is given. Like,
Yeah.
you are perfect without the money. Money is not going to make you happy. It's about
No.
who you become, and the money
Yeah.
comes after.
Along that way.
Mm,
Sonia,
yeah.
wanted to touch on before we go on is a vision board. I'm a firm believer in a vision board, and I love
Yes.
it. Why don't you walk us through how you use your vision board to, I guess, bring those things into fruition and manifest?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a photographic memory. So I like to read, but when it looks at like when I'm looking at my goals and what I want to achieve with my life, it's better that I have visuals because they stick in my mind.
Yeah,
And when you have visuals that stick in your mind, it does activate the reticular activating system, which is the RAS. So basically, if you can see and look at visually what you want to focus on, your brain automatically will find ways on how to bring that vision into reality.
yeah,
So I use it in a way of visually looking at the vision and the mission that I want to achieve with my life, and then having visuals to support that to ensure that when I read my vision statement, it is conclusive with the vision board. So the vision board is actually just uh, in pictures like the goals that I want to achieve. But I think it definitely comes down to the clarity of your vision
yeah,
ties in with the clarity of the vision board. Also being realistic about, when you want to achieve these goals, because it's like, okay, I want $50 million in my bank account by next year. Like that's not going to happen. Well, that's not, I could win the lotto, you never know. But if it's not on my vision board, it's never going to happen because it's not, I'm not
yeah,
bringing that in, or I'm not seeing like the way I see it as well. Everybody wants to win the lotto, but then they don't
yeah.
buy the ticket to be in the lotto and then complain that they don't win the lotto. So
So
I
true.
suppose absolutely. So I see a vision board as a ticket to having everything that you want. And if you're so clear on what it is you're here to do and what you want to achieve out of life, the small, low priority things just don't take you off your path, and you don't attract people or situations that are just going to drain your energy. You're like, no, I'm clear. This is what I'm here to do. Don't waste
Yes.
my time. This is what I'm doing. And this is what I'm focused and focus on me. I'm not comparing myself to others. I'm on my unique path, and this is what this path looks like.
Yeah.
That's how I use it. And in the mornings, I kind of would look at it and visualize that before my meditation. So then when I'm meditating on what it is I want to bring into reality.
Yeah. And have you
How do
always
you
had
do
the,
yours?
oh, sorry, Sonia, what was that?
How do you use your vision board?
I'm a bit the same, to be honest. Again, I'm a very visual person, being a creative. So, in order for me to, I guess, try and manifest something, I have to see it. For example, when I was considering getting a new car, I'd had my little Mazda for like 10 years. I thought I better upgrade. I actually photoshopped my face on my dream car. And yeah, I probably got it maybe 6 months later. So, it's so true what you say. When when the eye can see it, the mind can believe it. So, yeah, pretty much the same. I always look at it every day. It's a great tool. I think also just to get really clear, like you said before, and what it is that I'm doing, my why, especially on those tough days. Like if you,
Mm.
the business roller coaster where you're going through a dark tunnel. It's really good to have your vision board, and I put photos of family and friends and all that on there as well, because it just keeps me grounded and keeps me focused. Before going
Mm.
to this dark tunnel that we sometimes can do.
Absolutely. Those dark tunnels come quite often, but I think it never makes sense when you're in the tunnel. It only
Yeah,
makes sense when you're out of it and you're looking back and you're like, how did we survive that?
yes,
You know, and that's not the glamorous side of business, and that's not something that a lot of people share openly
no,
because we want people to see how fabulous it is, but
yeah,
there is some very, very tough times that come with running a I I personally feel, and I don't know if you feel this way, but a business for me just completely is a 3D printout of all of the limiting beliefs that you've ever had in your whole entire life, and that you have to sort them out in order to get to the next level. And it's just like, really? I didn't know it was this amount of personal development.
so true. I was chatting with Michelle Maynard the other day, and we had a very similar conversation. I said, like, having your own business will reveal all your flaws that you've ever had, or insecurities, and as you said that, I was goosebumping because it's so true. But it takes you, I mean, it's very rewarding, but it takes you on a great personal growth journey as well. And exactly what you said, like you have to, it's almost like a bit of a PlayStation game. You have to like break through all those barriers to get to the next level, right? So yeah, it can come.
Mm. And then it's kind of like you're at this stage of business where I'm at the moment. I'm like at a certain level, and I'm like, why can't we move past this level? And what's presented itself the last few weeks is that, I am loyal to leaving people behind because even though I feel worthy of success, my subconscious, there is still that limiting belief that I don't want to leave my family behind. I don't want to leave my friends behind, even though I wasn't consciously aware I was doing that. But me playing small doesn't help anyone because it doesn't inspire anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
So
that.
that's a huge realization that I've had to face head on recently. I'm like,
Mm,
wow, I didn't realize I was playing small because I was doing all the things. And you know yourself, you can get really busy doing all the actioning in the day to day. And like, yeah, I've killed today, but like realistically speaking, it'll
mm.
take another day. Next day, you come into the office and something will completely derail you because it wasn't something you planned for. And you're like, there's me thinking I achieved an amazing day, but it's just this limiting belief that's coming up. You know what I mean?
I do, 100%. I love that, Sonia. Do you mind to repeat that again? Did you
Hmm.
say that playing small doesn't inspire anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed
Yes.
to hear that. Thank you. That's why I love our chats, because I always feel so inspired and uplifted afterwards.
Ah. Well, I have news for you. What you're seeing in me is a reminder that you have all of that inside of you as well.
Yeah,
So I'm going
thank
to
you.
reflecting back your light. And that's kind of a lesson that I've had to learn in recent years is that, when you're in business and you see all of these people doing really, really well, and you're like, everyone does well in their own right, but that's also in accordance with what their goals are. And I
Yeah.
think, you can get really caught up with the comparison analysis. And then it's kind of like you also almost think that people are doing so much better than you are, and then you look down on yourself. But we're all one and we're all on our unique paths. And, you know, if we think that we're not as good as someone, we're putting ourselves in a pit. And then when we think somebody's better than us, we're still putting ourselves in a pit, and because we're looking down on ourselves. But if we can get to a point where we are all one and everybody's on their own path, and it's about who you become that's most important, not what you achieve, that is
Yes.
the goal. That's the game changer. But yes, I am very, very, very humbled to be in your presence as well, my love. I think you're an
Oh,
absolute
thank
powerhouse.
you so much. And that's one of the things I love about you. You're also very open and you share those hard times that we go through, not only as business owners, but as humans as well, right? And
Mm,
one of the
mm,
things I've noticed that you speak quite openly about, and we are going to touch more on what you do in a mo, but is
yeah.
fertility. I think it's really
Mm,
brave, it's bold. And I know I went to the Fusion event where you were presenting. And I think you're the first
mm.
person I've actually seen that was just so open and like vulnerable around the subject of fertility. Do you mind to walk us through your experience and how being a business owner has
Absolutely.
impacted that and how it impacts everything else in
Absolutely.
your life?
Completely. Firstly, all I can say is fertility has been my greatest catalyst for personal growth, more so than owning a business.
Yeah,
Um, because for me, the greatest reward I've ever had in this lifetime is actually becoming a mom. But there
yeah.
were times I never thought I'd get there. And me and my husband got married 5 years ago in September.
Mm,
And I thought everything was going to be happen as easy as it does for everybody else or what we see on social media. And it didn't, unfortunately, happen the way I planned. And 6 months into our marriage, we found that the road for us conceiving our baby was going to be very difficult. So that from there, that led me into a downward spiral of mental health and questioning why us, and pulling myself back from all my friends because nobody knew we were going through what we were going through. And then people just kept asking when we were having kids. And I remember seeing myself on social media, remember being on social media and seeing baby announcement after baby announcement after baby announcement. And I'm like wondering what in the name of God did I do to deserve such a punishment? And it was
mm,
like every single baby announcement was like a dagger to my heart. And then I realized I needed to pull back and have a digital detox and actually be okay and sit in the discomfort. Because sometimes we do use social media to distract ourselves from what's going on in real life. But for
true.
me, I just started pulling myself back from everyone and went inward. And that I started my business October 2018. So the first year of my business, it was divine timing as well because had we got pregnant straight
Mm,
after we got married, there's no way I would have the business I have today. There's
right.
absolutely no way. And then if I go back to my why, I want to help business owners work smarter, not harder, so they never have to worry about where their next sale is coming from, and they can spend more time with the people that they love the most.
Yeah.
I also vouched to myself when I was younger that I'd want to work around my kids. So had the baby showed up straight after we got married or on my timeline, there's no way I would be working around her. I'd probably be working for somebody, building somebody else's dream,
Yeah.
and that never made any sense at the time. And I think when I was going through it, my inner knowing was like, I'm destined to be a mom. And whenever my baby decides to come earthside, I am going to speak openly about it because I feel that I've went through this for a reason, and I'm not going to just hide behind my computer or hide from society and be like, oh yeah, we're all good. I was like, no, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Mm.
Babies aren't born naturally anymore, and they haven't for a very long time. And
Yeah.
there's also misconceptions around it always being the woman, but sometimes it's actually, in a lot of cases, sometimes it's 60% the men issue, the man's issue. So
Mm.
there's this stigma around women like being perceived that their body has failed them, and
Mm.
that their divine right to being a mom has been taken away from them. And then we don't talk about it. But the thing is, us not talking about it is actually just feeding into the societal norm that women create babies naturally and men, like couples,
Yeah.
create babies naturally, and that's just not the case. And
Yeah.
there's people from generations and generations back that just couldn't have kids, and they've given up hope of that ever happening. But like with modern medicine today, and I believe, and I urge caution on that, because I'm kind of like, there's a place for modern medicine, and we went through an IVF journey. It took us 3 years in total to fall pregnant. First pregnancy ended up in a miscarriage in 2021, and that that it's weird to say it, because had we had not went through the 3 years before where we never knew if we were even going to get pregnant, had we not gone through, the miscarriage would have hit me harder, if that makes sense. But I saw
Mm.
the miscarriage as a blessing, that, well, at least I was able to fall pregnant. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
So I
Definitely.
think we had gotten that bit further than what we would have normally have gotten. And that gave me hope to keep continuing. But I also feel that that miscarriage was a catalyst for my husband to also do the growth on himself, because when you're in a relationship and when you're a business owner and you get caught up in the grind of wanting to, you need to grow as a person.
Mm.
Your partner and your husband that you're with also needs to kind of be growing as well, because you kind of want to grow together. So I think
Yes.
miscarriage as well was the catalyst for also his igniting that spark in his personal growth. And lo and behold, did a lot of work after the miscarriage together. A huge amount of work, like huge. I won't even go into the details because we'll be here till now. I could talk for a whole week on that alone.
I can
Um,
just imagine.
but Oh, it was, and you have to face these inner demons that the shadow parts of your soul. It makes you dig deep and bring that all to the light. But all I can say is, from that, we had this deep inner knowing that when we had transfer number two, that we're like, it's definitely going to work. Like, this is our time. There wasn't a
Yes.
doubt in my mind, whereas the first embryo transfer, there was that level of anxiousness. So then second embryo worked and we were pregnant, and it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And
Yeah.
then I knew it was a girl, and had the
Well,
gender reveal, it was a girl. And honestly, it was the most, it has been, and I look back in it now and I
mm.
know exactly why I went through it. And I went through it because my life wasn't meant to be plain sailing in this lifetime. I was meant to be and do more with my life, and had the fertility not stopped me in my tracks and made me really address all of the hidden parts of myself,
Mm.
and bring that to the light. I don't think I would be as happy as I am in my own skin. I don't think I would have the business I have the marriage I have the friends that I have all the amazing things that have happened to me. Because the thing is, right, with the universe, if you constantly ignore these clues, and you end up with these same lessons all the time, and you keep happening in the same situations, it's because you're not learning the lesson and you're being ignorant to what the universe is trying to show you. But if you address it head on, thing is, at the other side of that is so rewarding, like so rewarding, but you have to go through the tunnel of the darkness to get to the light. And that's the hard part. But we can have the light without the dark.
Mm.
Yeah. And Sage is now 18, nearly 18 months. Well, she's 17 months. I should know this. She's 17 months on the 22nd of December.
Fast.
And she's, say again?
I said the time goes so fast, doesn't
Oh,
it?
so fast, so fast. And she's
Yeah.
honestly the greatest achievement I've ever had. And she's been the catalyst for me to inspire other women to speak openly about fertility and, to shed light on these taboo subjects that aren't always discussed, because we are women, but like the more we separate and try and deal with things on our own, you're actually doing a disservice to yourself. Like, everybody should be in the mentality of supporting one another. Women don't have to deal with this alone, and it's one of the hardest. It is actually, in my view, the hardest thing I've ever went through in my life. The
Yeah.
hardest ever, because you're battling with all of the demons. It's hard. Very,
Wow.
very
Oh,
hard.
Sonia, thank you so much for sharing. I am like just absorbing everything that you said like a sponge.
Oh,
I have met beautiful Sage. We've had a couple of breakfasts together. She's an absolute cutie and such a I think she's an old soul, such a settled baby, so happy, like doesn't get phased. And what a
yeah,
journey you have been on. And
yeah.
testament to your hubby for, for going through that. Because I think, as you mentioned earlier, whether it's the guy or the woman, you from a pure biological point of view, we're made to reproduce. The one day I had someone close to me say to me, Tracy, what's the purpose of life? And I said, no, it's to, find out who you are and, help others and live this whole life sort of journey. And the person just said, no, it's to reproduce. And I was like, oh my goodness. So when you go through these tough times, it really does make you question the very foundation of your existence, because the very thing you're made to do, you actually struggle to do. So thank you so much for
Oh, honestly, I feel very, very blessed and grateful that I went through it. And again, it's just, yeah, having Sage in my life, and she's like the dream child, sleeps 12 hours a night and 3 hour naps during the day. And any moms that are listening to this, Jesus, it wasn't easy. Like, I had sleep training from when she was 8 months old, because she was 7 months old, because she was waking 8 times a night. So like, I'm very, very open to say I've had sleep training, and my child sleeps 12 hours a night and 3 hour naps during the day. But she's, honestly, all I can say to you is the level of gratitude I feel for her every day. I still well up every day that she's even here. So yeah, that's just, yeah, I know, and she loves you too, Auntie Tracy.
Oh, I love it, Sonia. You just have such a glow when you speak about her. And, you have such a sense of peace that I can see that's within you when you speak about your journey. And again, it's so incredibly brave because, like you say, there's a lot of taboo around this topic. Are there any, I guess I want to say, tools that you're comfortable sharing that perhaps your husband you went through, or how did you? That's like it's such a rough journey to go through. What were
Yeah,
the things you guys did that kind of helped you push through? Because I'm sure there were times where you just wanted to surrender and say, I am done. Like, was there
yes,
anything else that helped you guys get through that?
yeah. There was a like, I think energy works amazingly well. Anyway, I've done a lot of kinesiology, a lot of craniosacral therapy. I've been at Tony. It was at Tony Robbins a few times. I've done a lot of the personal work in that sense. But MJB, who are also my coaches, like, I've done a lot of their seminars.
Mm,
And that really shows you the balance in where you feel that, say, the hopelessness isn't, you have no hope. It kind of shows you the light side of that. So I think for me, getting to understand that there is plus and minus in every situation, and if we're just going through life trying to focus on the plus, 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 we're going to create more minus, 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 minus. So it's
yes.
about seeing the beauty in the dark time, and the dark time in the beauty, so that you can remain in a sense of balance, as opposed to in the, I just want to get around in the world by living only half a person. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, it's just
Mhm.
not, there is both sides to everything. And I think that we're not taught that that's how the world works. And I think that there is a society that we live in that requires that we believe instant gratification is what like quells our thirst, and that's not the case.
Yes.
It's the long game, and I think part of that is the rise of social media and digital and technology, is that we've actually lost the will to think for ourselves,
Mm. Yeah.
and that we can get what we want by a touch of a button. And no, like, you need to work for it. We're not entitled, and I think it should be a focus on coming back to basics. But yeah, that's the personal development work that we've done, and I also want to speak openly as well. I have done a lot of psychedelic assisted healing,
Yeah.
in a ceremonial setting, purely because and to be honest with you, had we had not gone through fertility, I don't think I'd ever have the courage or the bravery to do psychedelics.
Yes.
But my knowing in that was the right route for me to get my daughter, that is what led me to do it. And that
Mm.
cracked me open in ways that I can't even explain. And the thing
Yeah.
is about psychedelics, it's been the medicine of the planet for billions and billions of years, but it's not mainstream because it alters how people think. There's
Mm.
research to suggest that it can heal people with PTSD. There's research to suggest that it helps people with depression, anxiety. It can heal a lot of mental issues among the human race. But that goes against what we're taught in society about how to
Yeah.
deal with our mental health, to like pop a pill. Um, yeah, and I think for me, having that, knowing that, well, if it's from the earth, how could it be illegal? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
And
do.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of like psychologists coming out now doing assisted psychedelic healing, because it's been legalized for people to heal their trauma. And
Mm.
that single-handedly was, without a shadow of a doubt, not only did we get our baby, but like Jesus, all parts of myself have been revealed, and all the darkness has been brought to the light. And things that I would have not seen, have I been so stuck in my story that actually I knew my ego needed to be collapsed so I could see it from a bird's eye view. That
Yes.
is where that's the key to everything. So if we can collapse the ego that's trying to keep us safe all the time, and see things from a bird's eye view, that's a so much better perspective, because it's your subconscious that's in control rather than the conscious mind.
Yes.
So yeah, sorry, I'm probably getting very down that rabbit hole there.
Oh, no, I absolutely love it. And every part of me is goosebumping as you speak, because I have heard there's been great research on
Mm,
psychedelics, just the personal growth. I think you mentioned it once before, and I've heard it before, that a lot of, the thought leaders, or,
mm,
people who are in those spaces of leadership, they do actually use psychedelics in some way, shape, or form. And I guess, Sonia,
mhm,
why do you feel it helps so much? Is it because we, by society, we're so conditioned by social media, by marketing, by government, and
mm,
so on? Why do you feel something like psychedelics, that is of the earth, helps us kind of break free of all those boundaries, or it kind of
mm.
shifts us consciously, subconsciously?
Yeah. I feel that it connects you with your soul. The thing is, the way I see it, and you know, a lot of people have their different beliefs about what happens after you die. I genuinely believe that our energy lives on,
Mm,
and we're just here for a short time. So I feel that for me, psychedelics allowed me to connect with the true essence of my energy rather than my body, because our
yeah,
body is what's containing the energy. But if you think about when somebody dies, the energy leaves the body. The energy doesn't go anywhere. The
yeah,
energy cannot the energy doesn't die. So the energy is around all the time. So for me, it's worked so much for me because it also brought me back to my own generational trauma from years ago that isn't mine to carry. And it severed
mm,
all the ties of where I carry other people's stuff that I don't need to carry.
yes,
So at the end of the day, there's no point wishing for peace on earth when we're not prepared to do the inner work and heal ourselves on the inside,
mm,
So everything starts with what's in the inside. If you think about everything that goes on in the world, everybody's looking and fighting with pointing fingers on the outside, but nobody's actually willing to turn inwards because they're afraid about what they find. But the more
yeah,
you can lean into the discomfort, and probably you can't control the outcome, the more likely you will get to inner peace and inner
yeah,
balance, inner knowing, and connected with yourself. Because I think every soul journey when they come to Earth is about discovering who they really are, and the
mm,
greatest gift message to the universe is showing gratitude and having a relationship with self over prioritizing everything on the outside.
Mm.
And that's what psychedelics has led me, is to fall in love with who I really am. Because growing up for me as a child, like I went through a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of bullying, because I was like, growing up in a culture where we're taught that loving yourself is a crime. Anyone that
Yeah.
was any way different looking would be like slammed. So
Yeah.
rumors, and just a really, really difficult time for me. So I think for me, really getting in touch with being your own bestie, and how you can make that happen makes the outer world completely change.
Yes.
And psychedelics has been the vehicle to make that happen, along with what I've done with MJB and Tony Robbins, and that's all the theory. But when you actually experience the letting go and experience the true nature of your soul and what you're here to do, you're not this body,
Mm.
like authenticity comes with being at peace and to your core with who you are and loving yourself regardless of what people think. That's
Yes.
just the key to happiness.
Yeah. I love that,
But
Sonja.
yeah,
Again, we could chat
such a
chat
hippie.
for hours, and I'm just like glued to every word that you say. I have not stopped goosebumping for like the last 15 minutes.
Bless you. No, but that's because I'm in your presence and I feel I can speak about it too.
Oh, it. I just love how open you are. It's very refreshing, And again, people are so, exactly what you just said is that people are so focused on the outside, the outside world. And
Yeah.
I've done a lot of personal growth over the last, 2 and a bit years, and it's bloody scary. I'm not going to lie. It's all that inner work that we need to do, because again, we all have our own perception of the world, and our experiences are completely different. Even right now, what you experience is completely different from me. So it is that hard inner work. And I think, like we mentioned a few times before, the dark tunnel that one goes through, but when you come out on the other side, you're so much stronger. And I think it really is a tool that the universe uses to help us, to encourage others to go on their journey and help them step into their best version of themselves, or a higher version of themselves.
I agree. And to be honest, I wouldn't recommend psychedelics to anyone that hasn't done any personal growth or haven't um, been in deep reflection and inner work with like
Mm.
practitioners, because sometimes you're not ready to see what you see. Whereas
Yeah.
if you can actually start peeling back the layers yourself with coaches or like experts in that area, then yes, but I wouldn't be promoting it to just anybody to do it. I think you need to really be ready. Like for me, it was like I had no other alternative. I wanted my daughter and I was going to do whatever it took.
To
And
get.
I'm be a mom, I do not care. This is what the way it was going to happen. So that for me, but if
Yeah.
it was for me just about growing my business, and that was the only reason, I don't think that I may have been ready to see what I've saw.
Wow.
That show, you know what I'm trying to say? Like it needs to be something greater than you for your reason to want to do it.
Yeah. So very profound, you're trying to say, like what you saw and what you
Yeah,
experienced.
yeah. It's the most humbling experience you'll ever go through in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I think yeah, I just urge that it's kind of in a controlled environment. It's not like with people just for the sake of a party, because you're going to just take on other people's stuff. It needs to be with right trusted people, but also I think you should be in a process of doing a lot of the inner work yourself and knowing that there's issues that need to be resolved, rather than, oh yeah, my quick fix is going to be psychedelics, because it's not.
Yeah.
You need to peel
No.
back the onion to get to the core, because the core is what will take everything and
Yeah.
move everything, because that's the domino effect. When you fix the real core and pull out those bad weeds, that has a ripple effect in every area of your life.
Yes. It
Sorry. I
does.
wanted to say that because I don't want to come on here and be like, take psychedelics, you'll be fine, because that's
Again, this podcast is for educational purposes only. But no, I mean, I think again, when you are trying to step into a
Mm,
higher version of yourself, like the stuff that we see in our human eye, I believe we have a third eye, and from what I've heard is that psychedelics opens up that third eye, so we can actually see what's around us. I've also heard exactly what you've said. It can be very traumatic if you're not quite ready for it. So again, highlighting what Sonja has said, if you do decide to go down that route, please do it with people that you trust or in a controlled environment, not at a rave. Because we are
absolutely.
all
And have done some of the work. Yeah, done work
yeah,
on themselves or interested in personal growth. Because, yeah, agree.
yeah.
Once you're on that soul journey.
Yeah, and as we are all energy, I think if you are in an uncontrolled environment and perhaps not with people that you know, it might not be as great an experience. But again, Sonia, thank you
Yeah,
for
you need to
so
feel safe. No problem. Let's move on swiftly off that subject.
yes, no, it's great. I'm loving this. I love our
Joking.
chats as
I'm
always.
jokes. All jokes.
So, Sonia, walk us through the Search Republic. Maybe you could touch on what you guys specialize in, how you help your clients. I know any kind of digital marketing, branding, sometimes business owners' eyes glaze over. And perhaps you could walk us through how you guys help your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. So the business started 5 years ago. And at that time, I just needed a logo to get going. I didn't intend in growing it. So
Yeah.
August 2018, I had 10 clients approach me that just wanted to work with me only and asked me to set up my own business. So I took that as a sign from the universe. Okay, well, I might as well take the leap, because I did find myself in situations where I was working for other people and the same issues arose where they would promise the world and not deliver, or they would not be very open and transparent with how they do business. So they would sell SEO but wouldn't have a clue of how SEO actually worked, and would outsource to companies in India, and
Mm.
clients would end up getting penalized on Google.
Mm.
So for me, where I come from in Ireland, that is like dishonest, and that just doesn't sit well with me. Who I am as a person, I definitely embody my values of trust, respect, loyalty, and integrity. So it went against my values. So yeah, August 2018 is when the clients approached me, and then I started trading in October 2018. Spent that first year under the radar, the dark night of the soul, which I've already mentioned. And then it wasn't until I saw the results that my clients were getting that I was like, oh, you just need to get over yourself, Sonia. It's not about you anymore.
Yeah.
You can really help so many businesses to ensure that they don't get ripped off.
Mm.
So I launched my personal brand in 2020, Sonia the Search Queen,
Yeah.
on Instagram at Sonia the Search Queen. And then the Marketing Republic was trading as the Marketing Republic up until May 2022. And the reason for the rebrand was because at the time, there was a range of different aspects of marketing that I was doing, because I have a degree in masters in marketing and I've been in the industry for nearly 10, 20 years. So
Right.
anything from Facebook ads, email marketing, website design, deployment, like what else? There was like strategy, traditional TV, radio, press. I've experienced across a whole spectrum. So for me, what lit me up the most was digital, because everything is completely transparent and trackable. So you
Yeah.
can see from the metrics from Google Analytics how you invest dollars. This is what comes out the other end. And I'm
Mm.
like, this is just data is king. You just need to understand how to read the data. So my personal brand blew up because nobody was talking about the smoke and mirrors that surround Google search. So then it got me thinking I wanted to create more of an identity, like a professional identity for the Search Republic for my business. And the Marketing Republic just didn't do it for me at the time. It was like, well, there's more equity in my personal brand, Sonia the
Mm.
Search Queen, because I'm talking about what I love to do the most, which is Google and SEO and everything to be found on Google, YouTube ads, everything, right? So I then decided, okay, let's actually rebrand the business to the Search Republic. And the reason why Republic stayed was because, and Republic in the previous brand name was called the Marketing Republic with a Q, because Republic with a C was taken when I wanted to call it the Marketing Republic with a C, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when I put the search with Republic, that was a free business, that was an available business name. So away I went, and the business rebranded in May 22. And yeah, the business is very centered on long-term relationships, which is what the penguins are about, because they make for life.
They do.
Everyone's like, what's the story with the penguins? And I'm like, also penguins are one of my favorite animals. Um,
Yes.
and it was more to give it more of a brand presence, and our focus on relationship is the backbone of this business. It's how the business started. And I feel firmly believe that when you do the right thing, all the positivity that flows with that is
Mm.
just mind blowing. So yeah, the business, um, we help businesses be found on Google for the problems that they solve, and we're very transparent. We have clients where we've 10x their business in a single year. We've had clients where we made them $500,000 last month alone on Google Ads. We've
No.
had businesses that were at the depths of closing their doors in COVID, and because they were relying on footfall traffic, but we actually flipped their business to a product-based business online, and they doubled their business in that year. So it's not necessarily about the amount of clients that we have or anything like that. It's actually about making a difference and doing things ethically.
Yes.
Um, and since I think for me and how the business has grown so much is just focusing on my why and not being attached to the outcome.
Mm.
And stories like that just gives me goosebumps. And when we go through the reports with the clients, I'm like, that is absolutely insane. Like our clients, one of my clients last month alone had to employ 5 new staff to keep up with the workload.
My
Yeah,
goodness.
so that's the that's the extent to what we do. So when businesses are ready to take it to the next level, like
Yeah.
if they're already at a point where they're at like they have grown their business to a certain level and now they're ready, they can actually invest in paid marketing. I think
Mm.
that's a game changer. But when a business is at a startup stage, Google is not the answer. It
No.
really isn't. You need to get your branding up to
Mm.
scratch. You need to have your brand presence, your positioning, all of that. And once you've proven that you can grow your business in other ways as well, then you can actually justify paying into paid marketing because unless you know who you're speaking to, your ideal client, what problem you solve, and you know that back to front, Google's not going to work
Yeah.
because you need to, how we run our campaigns is targeting you as being you solving the problem for that customer, not
Mm.
you being the service provider, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we can't figure that journey out for you. You need to be very specific about the problem that you solve and what makes you different. And that is when you're in a position to pay for paid marketing. SEO is a little bit different. So SEO is the backbone of your website. So and your digital presence. So SEO can take anything up to 6 to 12 months before you see an increase in rankings. And people don't understand that, just doing a blog piece on their website is not SEO. It's a constant, ongoing strategy, just like organic social
Yeah.
content would be. Like you're not going
Mm.
to see the fruits of your labor for like, at least for me, it was like 2, 3 years down the track. You need to be adding value, but you need to be adding value to your website that aligns with Google best practice because Google changes the rules 3,000 times a year.
They do.
So
It's-
it's crazy. So it's
Oh,
crazy. So I say websites that can't be found on Google are like billboards in the desert. Nobody can find you.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it's a Ferrari without an engine. It's a sexy website, but doesn't convert to clients or customers.
Mm.
So that is SEO, and the power of SEO is like is so untapped. It's not even funny. People want the short term gratification from social media and think that social media is doing marketing or doing the blog because the thing is like marketing is not free. It's meant to make you customers, and the goal of what we do is to ensure that marketing pays for itself and the client makes profit on top. So everybody wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Google Ads is the ads appear in the top few positions. It's a shorter term result. You can see results within 90 days. Um, and then that's to drive leads directly to clients. So phone calls and email inquiries, and that can happen once the campaign goes live, once the necessary criteria has been met, like conversion points. But then we have clients where they have product-based businesses, and we can ship product directly online and drive sales to their business instantaneously through Google Ads without ever having to need a phone call to convert them. Um, so what we do changes lives. It helps businesses become more successful, and I absolutely adore what I do because I demystify and I make it easy for business owners to understand why Google is so important.
Yeah. And Sonia, if someone is wanting to work with you, where's the best place to go?
Oh, the Search Republic, there's a team of 16 of us. So if they go on the Search Republic website and hit contact us, and then they can fill out a contact form, or my DMs on Instagram are always open, or on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy there. Facebook, I use all my social profiles for business apart from Sage's Instagram profile because that is just a friends only page. We have to keep that side of ourselves private.
Yes. Yes.
But all of my personal profiles are all business. Again?
I said she can't join the business just yet as an
No,
influencer.
no, no, no. I have like a photo wall on Instagram of all of her little moments that I can show her when she's older. So it's like a scrapbook. And then it stops then me feeling like I have to share her on my socials so that my family can feel like they're not missing out. It's actually a dedicated private page so that they can, because I do think that you have to monitor that with what the way the word is, you just never know who's watching.
Yeah,
So
that's a
yeah.
great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, my team are just incredible, and
Amazing.
I do want to say this actually, just with the whole fertility and how that's
Mm,
intertwined with the business. The biggest
yeah.
lesson for me was surrendering and letting go,
Mm,
and trusting that everything's going to work out the way it's meant to. It may not make sense in the moment, but it only ever makes sense when you're looking back. But surrendering control, I never thought I'd be able to go and have a baby and allow my business to just take over with all my team running it. And if I'm honest, like I've had 4 international holidays this year and I did not have any access to any of my emails. You know, the team
so-
have ran the business without me. So
yeah.
yeah, that's for me, that's what success looks like. It's not defined by the dollar amount, it's defined by the freedom that it gives you.
Yes, definitely. And so,
Mm,
credit to you, that's amazing. That's the stuff that we, not you personally, but that's the side of being a business owner that's sold, right? But to actually get to that point is freaking hard work. And there's so many things
mm,
to do in order to make that happen. You literally took the words out of my
mm.
mouth. I was going to ask, is there any final sort of tips or advice that you have for business owners? But I love what
Yeah.
you shared.
Yes, absolutely. I think personally, I've struggled with adrenal fatigue. I hit adrenal fatigue March this year, and that
Mm,
was a massive eye opener for me because I think for me, growing up, I was just I'll do everything myself kind of a chick. Like I put myself through my own education. I never asked for help for anyone. So I kind of conditioned myself that I have to always do everything
mm,
myself. And then when I had hit adrenal fatigue in March, um, I just realized, yeah, something has to change. And that actually required all the admin stuff that I was doing in the business. I don't know why I was doing it, but all of the emails, all of the payroll, all of the invoicing, um, all of the speaking gigs, all of the preparation of the events, all of the clients, all of the results, all of the sales. Like there
wow.
was so much that I was
Mm,
doing that I didn't know what I didn't know. And
yes,
everybody talks about like delegate, delegate, delegate.
they
Like, yeah, I'm
do.
doing delegation. I'm like, yeah, I'm
Mm,
delegating. It's just a whole other level every single time.
it is.
Um, the question I would put to any business owner is be like, okay, what is my charge out rate?
Mm,
And what is what I'm working on now worth my dollar amount per hour? If the
mm,
answer is no, it needs to be delegated.
yes.
I only work on high generating revenue items now because that's where my time is best spent for the business. I delegate everything else. I only manage clients, strategy, and finance, as in I check the numbers. I'm high level across everything. I've literally said to the guys, I'm like, I don't want to be across every single decision. Obviously, marketing, I have to be on
Yeah,
across that as well.
of
But
course.
that all comes part and parcel. But I think if everyone's very, very clear about who does what, there's less stepping on toes, and actually just letting go and allowing your team to make the mistakes, just allow them to make the mistakes because nobody's going to learn from that. But a really good book I'd recommend would be The One Thing by Gary Keller.
Yes, that is an awesome book. I love it. Yeah, so, so
So good.
good. Yeah.
So good because it's like going all in on the one thing and the one thing that's going to move the needle rather than try and keep all the balls in the air. I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
that's like the biggest game changer. More tips that I think is actually just stop focusing on trying to figure out how to make more money. Focus
Mm,
on what you're here to do and how you contribute to the greater good. Because people feel the energy of wanting to be sold that when you're trying to sell to them. Like focus on
completely.
adding value and inspiring people, and people come anyway. Like, but everybody's been in that energy where you can feel if somebody's pitch. I always get into LinkedIn, people trying to pitch to me, and I'm like, here we go,
Always.
man.
Yes.
Mm.
Got it from a mile away. Sonia, one last question I love to ask is
Oh,
that do you have any sort of like, do you have a morning routine or do you have any rituals or anything that you do to help you with your day-to-day life?
funny you ask. 'Cause I'm actually doing an Instagram live later on today about
Oh,
all of
cool.
my life hacks. Yeah, so I'll be doing it
Oh,
around 2:30 today. But
awesome.
I get
I love
up 5 a.m. most mornings,
Yeah.
especially when I need to go to the office, and I get up before the baby wakes up because she goes down at 7 o'clock and she doesn't wake till like half six, 7. So she sleeps 12 hours without waking, which I know I'm very blessed. But that was the system,
Yeah.
that didn't happen. Like we worked at that. Um, And I get up before that because it allows me to connect with myself first. So I have more to give her when she wakes. So I get up at 5 a.m., I do breath work. Um, I then focus on gratitude and then I journal for a while and I'll pull some angel cards and if I'll do some stretching, some yin yoga or whatever. And then she'll wake up, we'll have a little dance. My phone doesn't get switched on till about 7:30 in the morning. So Sage
Awesome.
wakes up about 7. We have that time and we like have a dance to one of my favorite songs that really helped ground me in our fertility journey. And that was Thank You by Alanis Morissette.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll dance to that, or we'll dance to My Girl by the Temptations
Oh,
every
yeah.
morning. So either of those songs, and you can see her hands, she's like,
Oh,
so
cute.
we have very cute. Yeah, and then I'd have my connection time with my daughter, and then um we get I drop her to daycare and I'm in my office then for 9 a.m. And I'm gone by 3:30, 4 o'clock most days. And within those days I time block everything. And I'm very mindful on social media. So actually I only go on social media in sprints throughout the day. Like I don't spend a lot of time on it as such. I'm on there and I'm intentional when I would go on there. I don't go on there to scroll as such. I go on there to add value and also to like help, like also encourage other businesses, and show them the love as well. But the phone for me is the biggest game changer. Turn that off at 6 o'clock every night. I do not have my emails on my phone. My emails, taking
Oh,
the
Sonja.
emails off my, no, no.
Wow.
It's a whole other level of letting go of
Yes.
control.
Yes.
Um, and I know there's temptation to want to check it, but I'm like, no, firm boundaries. I love my
Yeah.
business, but if it's bleeding into my personal time,
Mm.
then I'm going to become resentful of the business.
Yeah.
So you kind of, if it's bleeding into your personal time, you need to have very strong boundaries with personal and business. So I think emails for me is the biggest game changer. I also have recently put on an out of office on my email. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but to
I
let
have.
people know that I have received your email, but don't expect a response for at least 24 to 48 hours unless it's urgent, contact Harley or whatnot. Because then that lets me know that the clients know I've got their email, but my expectation is that I'm not on beck and call managing my
Yeah.
inbox every single hour of every single day, you
Yes,
know?
which they used to as well, and they expect you to
Mhm.
respond like 5 minutes. So it's great that you do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And I think that's been a huge thing. And then the phone gets switched off at 6 o'clock every night. And then
Yeah.
that's it. Because connection time with my daughter is also very important in my life, and connection with my family time with my husband. His phone also goes into the room from 7 o'clock every night. So the phones are actually in the bedroom. We watch TV together. We only watch TV at night time for about an hour or whatever, but that's our time to connect. But if you lose connection to your partner, that's also opens a whole can of worms. Like you need to prioritize these things, and connection is a huge value of mine, so
Yes.
especially in my relationship. So yeah, my family. So yes, those are all the things that have worked for me. But I think it's prioritizing yourself first. Like, don't burn yourself out, Tracy. It's very
Yeah,
important.
done that. And I love what you said about boundaries because probably, 2 years ago, I didn't have very healthy boundaries. When you first started business, it was my first year of
Of
business,
course,
very consumed by it all. And, I
of
go
course.
guns and I never do anything half-assed.
Oh,
But
I
again,
know. When you're South African, you're a gun.
I'm
I
Irish and German. So yeah.
know, girl.
Yeah, so I kind of I think all my boundaries kind of blurred, and I love what you said about making time, for your for your hubby, for Sage, and having those clear boundaries in place. And I'm the same. I thrive on structure. Without it, it's not a good thing. I become a rebel and let loose. So I love what you
Yes.
said about boundaries, and I love that you put your phone off as well. I might give that a go.
It's amazing because everyone's like, what about if like somebody in Ireland was trying to call you in an emergency? I'm like, they'd call Kevin. Like
Yeah,
they have his number. Like even with like, because I don't watch the news. I don't tune into
no,
the radio. I
neither.
have podcasts. My car is a university on wheels. I haven't watched the news in over 19 years because
Wow.
I just don't like how it makes me feel,
Yeah.
and I'm not in control of my own emotions. So I'm like, I don't watch the news. So think when you can actually be in control of how you feel based on the environment you surround yourself with, it's a game changer. Like you
Yes.
have to prioritize yourself and you have to fill your mind with inspiration over other people's stuff. Like, and do not check your phone when you first wake up in the morning because you're not in the best space to receive it. Do not check
No.
social media because straight away go into this like, oh, they're doing so much better at their business than I am. And it's like,
Yes.
what a way to start your day. It's just not a good way at all. No, at all. So yeah.
Sonia, thank you so much. I have absolutely loved our conversation. The time has just
Do.
flown by. So many golden nuggets. I know I'm going to go and listen to this recording probably a few times.
Bless your heart.
Oh,
Bless
but
your heart.
what was that?
I
Sorry.
cannot wait to hear the recording as well. Like, I'm so excited. I can't wait to share my husband like, yeah, Kevin, you need to listen to this. Look how great I was
Yes.
in the podcast. Joke.
Reminded the family chats. I'm like, by the way. So everyone. But thank you so much for being, open, being vulnerable. It's so incredibly brave. And I love the drive that you have to help business owners, to help people that are going through fertility issues. And it's so refreshing that you're just happy to share and not a closed book. So thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure. No problem. And hopefully I'll see you very soon anyway, my gorgeous girl. Okay.
Yes, of course. Thanks, Sonia. Take care.
Pleasure. No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.